Hey everybody, on this episode of AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On, we're getting up close and personal with actress Diora Baird. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, look at this. A little Kendrick Lamar leading us in right here. It's Diora's jam.
My anthem. My life.
Hey everybody, welcome to AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On. This is the show where we get up close and personal with the people in front of and behind the camera that bring you all that great entertainment that you get to watch on the movie screens, at home on your TV, or maybe on one of your mobile streaming devices. I'm your host, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. My guest today is a triple threat. She is a model, an actress, and a writer. Look at that. She's modeled for Guess. She's been in films like Wedding Crasher, 30 Days a Night, Dark Days. She's been in TV shows like Psych, which I can't get enough of. I always got to ask about that, The Drew Carey Show, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to find out all this and more with the actress Diora Baird.
Hey.
Hey, look at that. So Kendrick Lamar is your anthem.
I love it.
Yeah?
I mean, everyone loves it. I'm not original by being like, ooh, let's play some Humble by Kendrick Lamar. It's on every station at all times right now. But I love it. It's so good. It's so good.
So if you need to get your day started right, boom.
Oh, yeah.
Just popped right in.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. So now this is you came out before in the past. Diora's a huge Veep fan. So
Love me some Veep.
Love you some Veep.
Love me some Veep.
Yes. Did you get a chance to watch the season finale?
Yeah, I did.
What'd you think?
My mind went blank. What happened?
That's when she decided, you know what? I'm actually going to be running for president again.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all right.
I mean, who knows what's going to happen? She was great at being president. She didn't get to be president for long enough.
True.
I mean, what's the storyline if she's not running?
I mean, I guess it would be more of the life of a former president and what their life is like. I guess we've never actually seen her officially on the campaign trail.
No, we haven't. So, yeah, I did love how in the last episode they did that montage of going back into time.
Yes.
Amazing wigs, hair and makeup, killed it. But yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, enough about Veep, because that's a great show, and I know they're just getting ready to start in the writers' room again. There was a tweet out that Dave Mandel, the head writer for the show, and executive producer, was tweeting out. Oh. And Julia Louis-Dreyfus sent him like cookies and everything to get him all started. She knows how to treat her writers right.
I want a cookie.
Yeah. Well, but let's talk about you.
Okay, let's do it.
Yes. This is all about you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Miami.
Nice.
Florida. That's in Florida. But yeah, I grew up in literally Miami, which I guess I don't have to say literally. I can just say I grew up in Miami. But when you're in Miami, people are like, where are you from? And you're like, here. They're like, no, where are you from? Like, I'm from here.
So is Miami sort of like Los Angeles?
Yeah, everybody's from somewhere else. Everyone's, from everywhere. Everyone goes to Miami. And who grows up there? I did. I did. And I have a lot of freckles to thank for that.
There you go. It's like, why is somebody with such pale skin?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, but you mentioned due to your Irish heritage.
Yeah, I'm very much of Irish ancestry.
Are your parents there from Miami as well, or did they move down there for?
No. They are from the Midwest, and they moved to New York to pursue their dreams in acting, modeling, that whole, thing, and got pregnant, surprise, and thought New York City is not a safe place to raise a child. It was the 80s. So let's go to Miami. Did they not see Scarface? I never seen so many drugs in my life, and I've lived in LA for a very long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're growing up there in Miami.
Yeah.
And when does the acting, the modeling bug, was that always with you because of your parents?
I didn't have a choice. Yeah, they forced me.
They forced you. Get out in front of that camera.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, no. I mean, yes and no. I went along to all the castings with my mom, and I was such a good baby that I ended up starting to book work while I was still in diapers. And I continued to model off and on my entire childhood, pretty much.
Are those first jobs just because you happen to be in the casting room while your mother's auditioning?
And they're like, oh, we need a baby for one of our jobs. Why don't you be the mom and she can be the baby? And ta-da!
So it's just by showing up, you're already halfway there.
Yeah, and I was just like such an easy kid. I was really quiet. And then I was actually extremely shy and introverted, and a lot of people are like, yeah, right. I'm like, no. I still actually am. But as a kid, I had such a hard time speaking up in class and, anybody really. So my mom put me into theater when I was like 10, and I hated it. And I ended up sticking around, and then it kind of just stuck. And I thought, I'm going to be a thespian. And I was like vice president of the Thespian Society and, won first place in pantomime. Yes, I did.
Oof, that's tough. That is
I
tough.
wrote it, directed it, starred in it. I mean, there's not a lot of writing when there's no words involved, but...
Well, somebody's got to think of what they're going to be doing.
There has to be something, sort of something.
So when you started leaning towards this, what you've kind of seen your parents be doing, and is both your mom and dad both working?
Yeah, they were both in the biz, and my mom was modeling, and my dad was an aspiring actor. So yeah, they ended up in Florida, and I ended up being a drama nerd, and thought I was going to move to New York and do Broadway. I can't sing, and ended up being like, what? Let me just try LA for what's this pilot season? Maybe it's like a weekend
Sure,
in
yeah,
LA.
absolutely.
Pilot season's like 3 months. Now it's all year round. It's non-existent. I don't know what pilot season is. You tell me. And I came out and thought, oh yeah, I'll get discovered and be on Dawson's Creek in no time. That did not happen, but I stayed.
Well, when you decide, say, you tell your parents, hey, you know what, I'm heading out to LA. I'm going to pursue acting as a full-time gig. Are your parents supportive of that? Or are they like, we don't want you to do something that we've been struggling with. We want something else for you?
I think they knew that I wanted to do something in the arts. I was a dancer and performer, and I'd been modeling and acting for so long that they knew I wanted to do something in that genre. But when I graduated high school early because I'm a little smart, and I was like, okay, I'm 17, I'm moving to LA. Like, I've got my diploma. I went to college for a minute, so I did try to show them, like, look, I tried it to study theater, and I was like, you know what, I just kind of want to go do this thing. And now I'm thankful that I don't have student debt. Not to say that you should not go to college. Like, college is great, and I may go back at some point. I think about it daily. So who knows? But yeah, I moved out here at 17 and brought my rollerblades, thinking I could rollerblade to my castings like I did in Miami.
Of course you can. Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
never used them.
It's a very rollerblade friendly
Yeah,
town.
very. Yeah, the 101 is so rollerblade
That's right.
friendly.
Yep. They've got their rollerblading lane.
Yeah. I
in there.
had no idea. I found my apartment online before, I had been out here for a modeling job when I was 16. So I thought, and it was on the Sunset Strip. And I was like, this is amazing. This is LA. So of course, when I found like a place I could afford, it was not on the Sunset Strip.
Yep.
It was somewhere, in between no man's land, which is like maybe downtown-ish. And that was before downtown was cool like it is now. So it was a good time. And it was a good time. Took the bus, not my rollerblades. Thomas Guide. Remember the Thomas Guide?
Yes.
Had this big map that I carried around at all times before we had these.
Well, it's like certainly anybody that comes here to visit before they decide to stay here, when they see just the cool, glamorous parts, like, when I move out here, of course I'll be staying in these areas, and this is so great.
Yeah,
Not
it's
realizing
wonderful.
That, yep.
And then there's a lot of it has everything. LA has a little bit of everything.
But of course, where you end up living, just due to financial reasons more often than not, is just certainly not the cool places that you checked out when you were first visiting.
No, it wasn't the hotel that they put me in and paid for. It was like this one room apartment that had like the bed in the wall that you pull down.
Oh, I've
that
always
kind
wanted
of
one of
thing.
those. Is it cool or not cool?
It is and it isn't, because occasionally something happens. Well, even while you're laying on it, it starts to try to close. So I don't recommend it. I don't know if they still make those. It's like water beds. Like, that wasn't a good idea.
So by when you wake up in the morning, your bed's almost like at a
You're
45-degree
like,
angle?
I'm in the wall. It's like basically I'm living in a coffin. But yeah, I lived off Taco Bell.
Can't go on. Run for the border.
Lived off of it. Stole all. I mean, it's not really stealing. They're free. I took a lot of the little packets of I don't know what I did with them, but I took them. took him home. I took him home.
So when you moved out here, did you have any sort of support system, or you just went out here not knowing anyone?
I didn't know anyone. I was an idiot. I don't recommend it. If my 17-year-old was like, I'd be like, absolutely not. But I was really good at fooling people and thinking that I knew what I was doing.
Well, for somebody, as you said, kind of an introvert as well, coming out here inner city where you don't really know anybody, also being introvert, did it make it tough to get out there and start making friends initially?
God, I don't know if I really made friends. I just kind of was on the hustle. So I was working numerous random day jobs while auditioning and modeling a little bit and just kind of doing that. And eventually you meet people. I don't know. Someone picked me up at a bus stop once. Don't recommend that.
Somebody, as in to go out on a date with?
Oh, no. No, not like pick up, but just like, like, why are you at a bus stop? Do you need a ride? Kind of thing.
All right. And you took the ride?
I did, and I'm alive. It is a miracle. It is.
Good things happen, though.
Yeah, you don't take rides with strangers. Like, that's common sense. But yeah, I was a little naive, but I'm still here.
Well, now, some of the jobs I was reading up here, you worked at the Gap?
I did.
Yes. So you're an expert folder of clothes even to this day.
You know what? I still think about it almost every time I'm folding clothing, which is every day of my life. But you had a board, and every single time I'm folding t-shirts, I'm like, God, I should get that board. I should go into the Gap and ask them for a t-shirt board. I should use that. But who has time? Who has time?
You are also a clown as well.
I was indeed.
So for being a clown, what's that experience like? Do you come up with your own identity? Do you get to have control of the kind of makeup you get to put on?
Being a clown is torture. Essentially, it's being surrounded by wild beasts that want to rip you to shreds. No, it was fun. It was fun. I love kids. I always loved kids. I've always loved kids. It was another one of those day jobs where I became a children's entertainer at parties. So I would be anything from Cinderella to Dora the Explorer. I don't know why. Elmo, but not like it was like a lower end company. So we didn't get paid very well. So the costumes weren't great. Like Elmo was missing a hand. Things like that.
So you'd show up dressed as Elmo with one human hand in the mix.
Yeah. What I would tuck it in. So basically, he was an amputee.
So
he was a one-handed Elmo. And the costume is way too big, so that the eyes were in the back of my head. I could barely see. But you have to do the Elmo voice, which try doing that for an hour.
Is that one thing that they kind of, when you go in to audition, it's like, hey, I'd like to work for you. Do they test you like, let's hear your Elmo voice? I
don't even think so. Like it was not like a legitimate, I would never hire anybody from that. I wouldn't have hired myself as Dora the Explorer.
No? I mean, you wore the backpack. That does have to work for you, right?
She did not look anything like Dora the Explorer. I was like, this is the Irish version of Dora. Hola, como está? No, I actually do speak a little Spanish because I'm from Miami, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah.
So for that, did you find like the kids more often, like you see it both ways, where like kids are excited, but then also, especially in TV shows and films, somebody shows up to the party and the kids are like, we don't want this person here. Why did you bring this?
No, I think for the most part, I bribed them with treats and things like that, but a lot of the times it was just way too many of the dads, like especially if I was like Ariel the Little Mermaid, which is the most that is scandalous. There's children dressing up as Ariel the Little, she's a stripper basically. She's nothing. She's wearing nothing. So when I had to wear that, there were a lot of dad. I was like, well, you're 45. You want your face painted? Okay. All right. You want to be a tiger. Got it.
Why would a 45-year-old man want his face painted? Just to hang out and be able to chat you up?
Because I'm dressed as Ariel, the Little Mermaid.
Got it. And so when you dress up as a mermaid, I assume that you were just like your feet are kind of sticking out, or your feet are the fins?
Yeah. Well,
you're kind of walking along?
So
you're kind of shuffling? It's
not a real, great costume. It was like a cutout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. But you're able at some point then you're able to actually start modeling for guests.
Yeah, while I was actually doing the children's parties, I had already modeled for guests. I mean, that paid $500. That's not gonna do much. I mean, people know it. It's so funny because it's like you think, oh, I made it. I'm on billboards. Nope. I still have negative money in my balance in my account. And that's just the way it is. The bigger the movie, the bigger the brand, the bigger the campaign, the less they pay you because you're going to do it.
Interesting.
You're not going to say no to like the chance of being the face of a campaign. And I had no idea when shooting that I would even get to be the face of guests for that season, just because they shoot a ton of models and it's, a day or two of work. And then months, almost a year later, they come out with the pictures and I just kind of happened to be the one that they picked. So I guess I got lucky.
The idea is that, from their point of view, it's like, hey, we're giving you exposure.
Yeah.
Somebody else will snap you up, and that's when your career starts rising. Then you make the big money somewhere else.
You'd hope so.
Yeah, that's their point of view. It's
Yeah.
like, we're giving you this platform.
Yeah.
You get exposure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So while this is all happening, is your mom or your dad calling you and say, like, Dior, why are you still out there? Why don't you just come back home, stay with us here in Miami?
I mean, I think anybody with common sense was like, well, you need to have a backup career. But I didn't want a backup career because A, I'm stubborn, and B, I just didn't want security. And now I'm thinking, why didn't I have that? No, I don't, it's funny. I was just so determined. I was like, nope, this is what I want to do, and I'm not going to take no for an answer. I don't know. I need to inherit some of that confidence now in my 30s, but in my late teens, I was very, very confident and knew that I would succeed. But I was also, I was a preschool teacher for a year. I was doing a lot of different things until I finally was like, okay, no, I just want to be an actress.
Is it also part of it just being able to sort of like prove to your parents, like, no, I made the right decision. I'm not going to back off from this to kind of show that I was wrong?
Yeah, I remember the first big, I think it was the Texas Chainsaw premiere. I flew my mom out, my sister, and I just wanted them to see, like, look, Mom, I made it. People know my name. They want my autograph and, doing Jimmy Kimmel and stuff like that. But, it is definitely cool. I think parents just worry no matter what.
Understandably so. It's like, yeah, especially as somebody that's not nearby. You're all the way across the country.
Yeah.
We're not here on a regular basis. Yeah. We worry.
Yeah. I can't imagine. As a parent now, I mean, that just, it gives me anxiety thinking about it now.
How often would your mom want you to call while you were out here on your own and she's living back in Miami?
Oh gosh, I mean, I was terrible. I would never call. I was never one of those, like, I'm not good with communication. I'm like, what's a phone? I don't know how to turn it on. I'm sorry. Oops.
You must be driving your mom crazy, though, because, of course, I'm sure she wants to know how you're doing. And it's like, no, Dior, just call us.
I think, like, there was a time when she would figure out what I was doing based on what I was tweeting.
So there you go.
Like,
that's why I'm following you now.
Yeah, just so you know, I'm just
Yep.
going to follow your life on social media so I have some idea of what you're doing.
Now, you mentioned your sister, too. Did she decide to embrace something in the entertainments, or did she kind of steer clear of that?
No. I was the only one that was, like, crazy enough to be like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Are they in Miami as well?
Yeah, everyone's back in Florida.
Wow, you're still the outlier right there.
I know. Well, I mean, I've been out here for 17 years. So I've created a family. I have my friends, and it feels like home.
So now you have a break. You're on the Drew Carey Show.
I was on the Drew Carey Show. That was a huge deal. I remember when I got that, I was a co-star. And for those of you who don't know what a co-star means, that's 5 lines or under. But that was like a big deal. That was my first big job. And I got to go on, the Warner Brothers lot and shoot in front of a live audience. And I had 2 lines. But it was so exciting, and Drew Carey was really, really nice and gave me flowers. I felt so special. Mm-hmm. So
while you're pursuing that, are you also taking acting classes while you're out here?
Oh, yeah, I took every class under the sun. I was at the Groundlings. I studied Meisner. I did everything.
How did you enjoy your experience at the Groundlings?
I loved it. I did. I mean, it terrifies me. I'm not like an improv. I mean, I can improv and I have, but I'm not, a sketch comedian by any, like people who are sketch comedians and we all know them, they're on all the time and they have characters and voices. I was like, I don't really have that at all. But I wanted to be able to feel comfortable doing anything, and I highly recommend, if you're new to the business and acting, taking an improv class. It doesn't have to be the Growlings because, whatever. Taking improv is really helpful.
So you're also studying, and then it pays off. You get Drew Carey.
Yeah.
So after that, was it another moment where you felt like it was going to be like the guest campaign? Like, I've made it. That's it. I'm all set.
No, I think I knew, like, okay, this is the start. I mean, I was doing, I've been doing, I was always working on some sort of student film or little indie project or like a spec internet commercial, like whatever. I just was always on set.
And it's got to be nice, though, but especially someone like Drew Carey, to be very easily be able to have friends and family. It's like, just turn your TV on. It was a Wednesday night at 8:30, and boom,
I
you can
kind
see
of
me.
forgot about that. But yeah, it was definitely, it's bringing me back. Yeah. I do remember feeling like, okay, guys, guess what? I made it.
Yeah.
I'm on the Drew Carey show for a second, but it was good.
Did you ever get reached out by anybody that you kind of lost touch with that sees you from the Drew Carey show? It's like, oh my gosh, Diora, I didn't realize.
Not necessarily Drew Carey show, but just in general have seen me in things or on things or whatever. But yeah, people have reached out to me left and right on this thing called Facebook. And it's always just like, oh my God, I can't believe that's you. You were the weird girl that sat in the back of class that didn't talk to anyone.
And graduated a year early.
I know.
Because you're, so much better than all of us.
Yeah, really. I had no friends. So yeah.
So you end up with Drew Carey. Then you go from that, and you also then have a Wedding Crashers.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you go from TV, and then you also get an opportunity to work in film. So to see kind of that whole aspect of how much more of a bigger scale you get to work with when you're working on a film, and you get to work with Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, two really great comedians. I mean, Drew Carey's great as well too, but certainly Vince Vaughn and
different style.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So seeing that, are you just basically hanging around on the sidelines, kind of like a sponge, just watching them in action the whole time, or are you kind of more like, I'm just going to leave them to do their own thing?
Well, with Wedding Crashers, I only worked a few days, but the days that I was there, I definitely just stayed as close to Video Village where the monitors are. I just wanted to watch. I mean, honestly, any set that I've ever been on, because I didn't go to school, I didn't study it, I was always right there, where the action was. I wanted to know what the camera was, how they used it, and I made a lot of my mistakes on things that didn't matter because nobody saw that. So student films are great for that. And I, got to dance with Christopher Walken, which was definitely a highlight in my not my career, my life. He's just so cool. He's a really good dancer. Like that
Fat Boy Slim video.
He's like a really good dancer. And I just watched and laughed and took notes and stole jokes. No.
So while you're doing all that, still doing the audition rounds, do you enjoy the auditioning process?
No.
That just drives you bonkers.
I mean, who?
Well, I guess there are some people that are like
people
like the idea.
Who say they enjoy auditioning are the people that I don't trust.
Really?
No, for me, I think it's never, even after all these years, it's never an easy process of having to be basically judged and most of the time rejected for various reasons. She's not cute enough, she looks too old, she's not the right fit. The worst insult I think I ever got from telling me I'm not like cute enough or pretty enough or whatever, like, okay, fine, like I can't do anything about that. But I think one time I had feedback that we just don't want to bring her in because we don't think she's nice enough. I was like, the people pleaser me was like, no, you have to love me. Everybody has to love me. And I remember finally going into the audition. I was like, hi, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. And just like, was just so silly.
Bringing in cookies that you brought. I guess I just happen to have some extra cookies.
Yeah.
I left it over. Maybe bring them in.
Yeah.
Because I know there are some people that, I mean, well, I guess when you realize the experience, if you're actually on the producing side of a
Yeah.
project, which you've been, you realize that there's so many parts in play to be able to decide on
have
somebody for a casting.
No idea. I mean, you know, especially the audition process, it's such a grueling process. And in TV, especially, you know, you go in for maybe a pre-read with the casting director's associate. Then you go in with the casting director another day. And then they bring you back, if you get past that round, to a producer session. And if you get past that round, they do, I forget what it's called, but it's before the screen test. And it's just like a workshop. And so you do that. And then you go to studio and you have to sign the contract. You see what you're going to get paid if you get the show. And they bring you with like 3 to 5 other people that are in your category and bring you in front of a room full of executives on a stage, essentially. And you do that, and they tell you then whether you can leave or not or stay. It's like a pageant. It's really bizarre. And then if you pass that, you get to the studio. You go to network, and you know it's maybe down to like 2 or 3 people. It's intense, and you go through all that, and to not get it, which has been the case for me more than not, it's a lot. I've dyed my hair before screen test because the casting director was like, all of a sudden, like, oh no, they really want her to be red. I'm like, okay. I don't recommend doing that.
Well, I mentioned for when it's so while you're doing that where it's more like the pageant process that you were saying.
Yeah.
Are you watching everybody else do their performance, or are you basically
No,
off
you
stage?
can't.
Okay.
You don't watch them. Thank God. A lot of the time, you can hear, you know, other actors, which I just can't stand. So I usually put in headphones and I just try to like ignore everybody. Because who wants to hear actors? They're annoying.
Well, true, and you also don't want to feel like, oh, I'm just.
Yeah, and when you hear people doing the lines that you've been doing and it's different, it makes you maybe question the way you're doing it.
You don't want to do that. You got to
No.
do your own thing.
Yeah.
That network thing just seems like you can understand why it's so hard to get projects made, because just the casting process
And then you go through all that, and then sometimes the show, and then they make a pilot, and then it doesn't get picked up. So you go through all of that, and most pilots don't get picked up. It's insane. I think I'm talking anyone out of ever trying to be an actor if they are thinking about it. I'm like, but then sometimes it works and it's amazing and it's magical. And then you're on a show for 15 years. I've never done that, but I've heard it's amazing.
I've read about it.
I've guest starred on a lot of those shows. I'm like, what's it like? You've been here for 19 years. Okay.
So for you, since there's peaks and valleys
in
your career,
yeah.
what is keeping you going when you're in the valleys?
The valley is the down part.
Yes.
I mean, sheer desperation is definitely a factor. I mean, it comes down to, this is why I moved to LA. I mean, I have done lots of other jobs in between because my career has been an ebb and flow for sure. I don't think it never stops. It really never stops. I remember when I was first moved out here, I was at some Hollywood party and George Clooney happened to be near me and I was clueless and I went right up to him and interrupted his conversation with all the beautiful women. I was like, hi, I'm Diora. I just moved here from Miami. I'm here to be an actress. What advice do you have for me? And he was so nice, and he said, just don't give up. You have to be patient. I've been doing this for X amount of years, and I'm just now reaching the point of the type of success that I was hoping for. And, people give up way quicker than you would imagine. So if you end up, it's a numbers game. If you stick around long enough, eventually something is going to stick.
Because I know some people come out here with, like, I'm giving myself 2-year time limit.
No,
and
you
if I
can't
don't
do
have
that.
do you feel like you need to have any sort of time limit when you come out here?
No. If it's something that you're certain that you want to do, you can't put a timeline on it. This industry is so fickle, and nowadays it's, there's so you can make your content and you can do your own show and you can create things thanks to things called the internet, and there's platforms like YouTube, and there's people that are becoming YouTube sensations and becoming stars because they just went, I'm just going to create my own content. I mean, now because we have Instagram, we have Vine, we have people when Vine was around, we had Vine stars, we have social media, fame, basically. So it's a totally different world than it was when I first came out here. When I first came out here, it was purely just you do commercials or you do TV and film. Now you can do pretty much anything. Like I would do a commercial for, I don't, like.
But does that excite you because there's so many more avenues to explore?
It does. I do like that it's not as segregated as it used to be because, it was kind of looked down upon if you were a film actor to do TV. Like, I don't really want to do TV. It's not that way anymore. I mean, we have the Robin Wright and Kevin Spacey and, everybody doing TV. It's a totally different market now.
That's true, because I feel like in a lot of what draws it to, there's just the writing, the chance to dig into a character over an extended period of time that you don't get in a 2-hour movie.
And with miniseries too, it is basically like a movie broken into pieces, and movies are a lot more expensive to make than a show for Netflix.
True, with the mentality of like a lot of tent poles.
Yeah.
For all the studios, they were really expecting anything they make to make a huge return for them. So I feel like they're really reluctant to greenlight a lot of the smaller films. What's this going to do for us?
Yeah, I used to primarily audition for films, and now it's the other way around.
Which is frustrating when you see something like Get Out, made for a very small amount of money, but it does incredibly well. That there is still room for a smaller budgeted film to get that big studio release.
Yeah, people still love cinema. They love going to the movies. It's just a harder business now because most of the films that are made, the same time they're released into theaters, they're available on iTunes or, Amazon or whatever it is. So it's not as, the idea of going to the movies to see a movie isn't as exciting as it maybe used to be, because that would be the only time you could see that, and you'd have to wait, a year at least before you could get it on VHS. And now it's like big movies go, into theaters, and within 2-3 months they're available to download.
So yeah, for you, you're talking about some horror films. Mm-hmm. You've worked on horror film, but you're not a huge fan of the genre. You don't love watching the horror films, but you've been in several.
I have.
So what's it like to be working in a project that you necessarily were like, I don't enjoy watching these myself.
It's terrifying. Oh my God, it's terrifying. It's hard. I don't even think I've read all of the scripts. Like, I never finished Texas Chainsaw or some of the other ones, just because it freaks me out. I can't even watch it if it's me, because I don't like gore. I don't like blood. I've been in a lot of fake blood. I've been eaten alive by vampires and, everything.
But to be in the situation where you're actually filming, just because you can kind of visualize, we're filming, there's a camera, there's
no,
crew
it's
members,
just as terrifying.
Just for actually filming it.
Yeah, because just pretending, because when you're in it and you're in, on a set, like for instance with Dark Days, we filmed in Vancouver and we were in an actual ship and it was raining and it was cold, and the makeup did such an amazing job, and these vampires were not like Twilight vampires. They weren't like full of glitter and unicorns weren't shooting out of their mouths. It was they were like demons. They were demons running after you, and even though it's not real, it's terrifying. And the feeling of someone biting at your flesh, even though it's a prosthetic piece of flesh, you feel it. You feel blood squirting everywhere because of the squibs, which is how they make it look so real. No, it's insane. It's taken me, I remember after doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it took me like a solid month to like shake that off, because I was essentially tortured the entire film and tied up, not fake tied up, actually tied up. I had like rope burns on my wrists because I was tied up so much. How long
did it take you to get tied up for a scene?
I don't remember. I think I blocked it out. It was like a thing. I do remember, I don't know if it was a prank, but I do remember everyone leaving the room at one point and me kind of like, okay, well, I'm still tied up. I'll just be here.
That's right. Dara, we'll get back to you in just a little bit. Don't you worry.
Yeah. But, when some guy is chasing you while wearing a scary mask with a chainsaw that's an actual chainsaw chasing you, you're scared. There's no part of you in that moment that's going, it's not real, it's not real. No, you're like, oh my God, why is everyone just standing around?
Somebody
There's a
help.
guy with a chainsaw. No, he's insane. The guy with the chainsaw.
Really?
Oh my god! In real life, oh god, he believed he was born to wear the mask, so he never took it off.
Oh, all
He was
right.
in character all of the time,
Wow.
which is not what you want when you're dealing with the Texas Chainsaw.
Is that something that he tells you and the rest of the cast? Like, I believe I was born.
I don't think I ever spoke to him.
True, because in character, he's not going to talk to you guys. You guys,
No.
you're the people he wants to get rid of.
Yeah, no, I never actually exchanged real words with him.
What's it like when you go to the premiere of the film and you get to see him
Yeah.
on the red carpet? He's not wearing the mask for that, but is he?
He might have. I don't know.
You never know what you never know
Who
what he
knows?
looked like.
He might have. He could. He's probably still wearing the mask now.
Just hanging out at home. Wearing that?
It is possible.
Oh, I believe I was born to wear this mask.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at that.
Cool.
So now you mentioned before you started rolling that you were also get invited to horror conventions, that you
Mm-hmm.
go to those, as well as Comic-Con. And as we're taping this, Comic-Con just mere days away from happening down in San
Fun.
Diego. So you've been there before.
Yeah.
What's it like to be on? Cause I've gone as just as a fan to go
Yeah.
down there, but to be somebody that's been asked to go down there
Yeah.
when you have something to promote. What's it like going down there to promote something?
I mean, it's a sweaty convention. There's a lot of body odors. No, it's fun. It's exciting. It's, every time I've done it, I've always wished, oh God, I kind of just want to walk around and just gawk at people, because it's just all the freaks come out and it's amazing. And it's gotten just bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But when you're doing either a panel or you're doing meet and greets or you're signing things, you touch a lot of people. There's a lot of handshaking involved, a lot of hugging involved, a lot of hand sanitizer involved. But I love it. I love that entire community. This thing is just so big. I can't stop but hitting it.
No,
It's
just do it.
I feel like I need to abuse it a little.
Do you feel like you really get to enjoy the event, because basically you're just heading from one signing, one appearance to the
Yeah,
other?
I've always tried to do like a little walk around. I've even asked for people's signatures. I'm like, oh my God, that's that person from that thing. I want your picture, and like pay for it. They're like, wait, you're on? I'm like, yeah, whatever.
That's right. I'm going to do it.
I don't care.
Well, Lou Ferrigno, he's always there.
Yeah.
He's showing off his stuff.
Yeah.
I always wonder for when you have to go down there. Are you driving yourself? Do they send you a car service to get you down there?
It depends how big of a budget project you're doing. For most of the, Comic-Con, if you have a show, like the movies I've promoted at Comic-Con, they provide a driver. But like, I think now they might just do Uber. I don't know.
'Cause, I
That
mean-
was back when like town cars were something. Now I don't see any town cars. You just see SUVs and like Ubers.
Because the traffic to get down there is terrible.
Yeah.
But I guess is it much easier if you're not the one driving? You can just sit there in the back seat and read or be on your phone.
Yeah, or a lot of people go and like stay, for the weekend and get a hotel and get up there the night before and make like a whole fun weekend out of it.
Are you one of those people, or you're like, I'll go with what I need to do and then I want to get out?
Yeah. I like to be home.
Yeah.
And I'm in and out.
Are you more of a homebody?
I'm a homebody.
Well, as you said, you're an introvert, so.
I'm such an introvert. I don't know what I'm doing here.
That's right. Well, this feels like home. I mean, it's got a couch.
I know. I'm
right?
like, where's that free popcorn?
Oh yeah,
I remember.
yeah. Those are the popcorn.
I
yeah.
might want some.
So, in addition to doing the acting, you're also
Yeah.
you're getting in behind the camera as well, producing some projects
Yeah.
as well, and you're doing some writing too.
Yeah,
So
I am.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about
Okay,
that.
so the producing aspect right now, I'm in pre-production for a thriller. I know, shocking, the genre that I was so terrified.
Yep.
But this is a little bit more of a psychological thriller. It's not as much gore.
Did you read the whole script though?
I did, but it took me. I'm not gonna lie. I was in a public place. I think I was like at a gelato shop here in Studio City, and got to a certain point and went, oh nope, okay, I'm gonna have to put that away because it's nighttime, and I can't read that. But it's actually an amazing script that Peter Dukes, the writer and director, he wrote it and will be directing it, and I get to produce, which is really exciting, and play the female lead, which is a mom, which I've never really done before, and it's pretty spooky. It has like, I know everyone says this, but it has this like The Shining. Obviously, everyone knows The Shining. It has that vibe because it's basically just this family and they're, kind of trapped in a house and spooky things. It always starts with the kid, right? The kid starts seeing crap and you're like, oh no, this is not going to go well. He's possessed. Kids getting possessed terrifies me because I'm worried that will happen to my kid.
That's right.
And so I swear, when they're babies, they do weird things in their sleep. And like when you look at the baby monitor and you're just like, oh yeah, he's definitely possessed by the devil right now and talking to some inanimate object. Like the eyes just go red. Kids just are terrifying. But yeah, I'm really excited to do that, and the writing thing is happening right now. And I'm so excited. I was told, don't say the name of the show, and I really want to say it, but I'm not going to say it. But it's...
you spell it. You can just spell it for
I can't because then it's going to give it away. There's not many letters involved. It's a show about... It's a comedy, and it's about a single mom who is in the midst of her acting career and realizes that she's gay, and everyone has thought she was something else. It's a little bit about me.
That's what, right what you know. Right what you know.
It's a little bit about me, and I'm lucky enough to be creating this show with my partner, Matt Viola, who is an actual writer. And so I'm kind of like going, well, I think you should do most of the writing, and then I'll give you some ideas. But I'm so excited for this. I can't wait to bring it into the world.
Now, and angling for a network to pick it up, or you want to shoot something on your own?
I don't. Right now, I'm working on attaching some people and going from there and bringing it to a team. I want to invite as many women as I possibly can to help create the show. And I don't know if network it's not going to really go that way. It's really hard. It's really hard to get a show made in network, and there's so much amazing, great content now on Hulu and Amazon, everything. I definitely am leaning more towards that route. And I just finished up a documentary as well. It's based on this book by Dr. Lisa Diamond, who's this amazing professor on gender studies and psychology, and it's about sexual fluidity and what that means. So I had cameras following me around off and on for a few months. So that was traumatizing.
Was it because for somebody that has performed in front of the camera for most of your adult life, to be in this way where it's not necessarily performing but just documenting your life? How was it for you? Were you able to kind of, because I always wonder, do you forget the cameras are even there?
No, you don't forget the cameras are there.
Good.
It's there in your face. I'm like, I'm just trying to do some laundry. It's not that exciting.
We got to get everything, Viola.
I know, we got to get everything. I mean, I think if I was doing it longer, and like turned into a Kardashian, maybe. Maybe you forget the camera's there. I have no idea. I think it's fascinating. I did not. I was super self-aware and nervous, and it's really, give me lines to say, I will say the crap out of them. When you just want me to come up with things and tell you about my life, it's like, ooh, that's real. This is some like what I do in my therapy,
Because I would also think too, in a situation like that, I would be so self-conscious as well, and I'd think about the way I do like some of my daily habits, like however you brush your teeth or you make a sandwich, and you may do something that just is kind of weird to you, that you're like, oh, I know this is kind of odd, but it's just me. But now that I have a camera in front of me, I gotta really think, I cannot make this sandwich like a psycho, like I normally would do.
So you're a psychotic sandwich maker?
Maybe. I don't know.
I get it.
It's like if you lick the knife or something like that on your own.
You are a psychotic.
I don't know.
What is wrong with you?
I've got issues.
You lick the knife?
I've heard that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I've heard. What was, I think, unnerving for me was having cameras in my house, in my safe space, while I'm in my pajamas that are covered in coffee stains and wearing no makeup. There was when I was the first day of filming, I was like, oh yeah, come over around this time, and I figured we'd do like a little, open the door, the cameras are basically filming. And I'm like, I didn't get my, I wanted to get like my natural look. And they were like, no, this is perfect. I'm like, no, I have a huge pimple. No, that's perfect. And I was like, okay.
It's real life.
That's real life. It's very real. And there was like parts, and of course, what was really stressful was they filmed me going on a first date, and that worked out. She's my girlfriend and we live together and it's amazing. But it's terrifying. First dates are awful, period.
Well,
and having cameras film you while you're getting ready and ask you every 5 seconds, how are you feeling? Are you nervous?
But then also to ask somebody that you're going on a date with, like, do you mind? Hey, we're also going to have cameras.
I know. They mentioned we had just, made plans to go out and Nikki Weiss, who is producing the documentary, she calls me and she's like, hey, we really want to set up a first date. We think it'd be really great because that's what my life was. I was kind of in the midst of this dating scene that I knew nothing about and figuring it out. And I was like, oh, I just kind of made plans with this girl, but that's intense to be like, hey, I really like you, so do you think you would go on camera and have our first date be filmed?
Was it an immediate yes, or was it a little bit of talking?
No, she's the most, she's just amazing. But she was super supportive of me coming out and telling my story and being authentic and honest and figuring out who I am and all of that. And, she's a comedian, so, like, it's not, being in front of the camera is not, like, a big deal to her. I was like, it's not going to really be about your face, It's going to be about me.
But see, somebody that is willing to go along with that shows that's a keeper. That's a keeper.
She is a keeper. I'm keeping her.
All right.
It's a done deal.
Not in your basement, though.
Well.
Okay, well, that's something we'll talk about afterwards. All right, good deal.
No.
Oh, look at that. So we could get more out of Diora right now. I could find out all about those deep, dark secrets that she has down in her basement. What does she do down in that basement? But we don't have the time for that. But if you want to keep up to date with everything that you're doing, what's the best place to find you on social media? I
am on Instagram, which I love because you don't have to write too much. It's just like photos. It's great because I'm lazy. At Diora Baird, and with a little blue check. And I'm on Twitter. And if I get more followers, I'll probably tweet more. I'm just saying.
Oh, so it's up to us, folks.
I kind of feel like nobody's
we've done her wrong. I
don't know if it's even a thing there. I'm like, hello, everyone's on Instagram. But at Diora Baird.
No blue check on Twitter?
Yeah, I've got the little blue check.
She's double verified.
I'm fancy.
Double verified, folks.
Yep, that's me.
Fantastic. Well, my guest has been Diora Baird. Check out all the great work that she's doing. Check out the Instagram and tweet at her, folks.
Yeah.
Please, let's get that Twitter account up and running.
Okay.
Yes, let's do it. Folks, I've been your host, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. We'll see you back here next time with another episode of Spotlight On right here on AfterBuzz TV.
Awesome.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.